Lights ready? Cameras rolling? Sound is fine. India versus Pakistan, Asia Cup 2022, take 2. Action. And action there will be. So much action, so much drama, so much excitement. Whenever India play Pakistan, it's the big boys' night. And today on Cricbuzz Live, we've got the big boys. No, you're not looking at him right now, but you will look at them. To my left, Mr. Harsha Bhogle, Mr. Parthiv Patel. Welcome, gentlemen.
He's upset with you.
Why?
You said take 2. He doesn't take 2. He's a single take person.
Oh, yeah, he is. Yeah, that is true. That is true. That is true. I've shot a lot with him.
And I'm so excited that I couldn't stay home. I took afternoon flight and came back.
But that's the kind of excitement that India-Pakistan game generates also, no? So how's the Josh, sir? Hi.
We needed to have Parthiv in the studio.
Yeah, correct. To pep us up.
Yes.
Because everyone's missing me. I saw yesterday's show and I heard my name 3-4 times. So I thought, I should come back.
पीपीपीडिया का होना जरूरी है भाई हमारे साथ. लेकिन आज पीपीपीडिया आते ही ना एक बड़ा तीखा सवाल है आप दोनों के लिए actually. India are in a sort of situation right now because of the injury to Ravindra Jadeja. Now, who do they play today before the playing 11s are announced? Quickly, do they play DK, Pant both or one of them?
I would be very wary of going in with only 5 bowlers, including Hardik, because we're going through a phase in Indian cricket where you cannot get a single over from any of the batsmen. If Virat Kohli marks out his run-up, you're already in trouble.
Yeah.
And you don't want to assume that Hardik's going to give you 4 every time. So I would play all the bowlers that I have, given the fact that Ashwin and Akshar can both bat and play the same side with either Rishabh or DK, and play Akshar 7, Ashwin 8, Bhuvi 9, Arshdeep and Chahal.
You have an option there in Deepak Hooda, not as potent of course, but he can give you those overs maybe.
He can give you 2 overs, but that's the only option.
That's the only option actually.
Yeah, but I think I agree with Harsha what he said. You know, I think India's biggest problem was the 6th bowling option in last World Cup, and when you have those options and you have bowlers also, and Akshar and Ashwin both capable enough. What we've seen how Ashwin is bowled so well in IPL and T20 cricket, whatever opportunities he's got, and Akshar's batting also has improved quite a bit. Yes, there was no question about bowling. But his improvement in batting also gives that confidence to captain and coach that, I mean, he can't bat at 4, but at least at 6 if they want. That option also they can take. So, I mean, I would just have a straight swap between Ravindra Jadeja goes out and Akshar comes in.
And both are capable of bowling in the power play.
Yeah, correct.
It also gives you the flexibility. You don't have to use up all of Arshdeep at the top. If you want to hold Arshdeep back, Hardik can give you an over in the power play. Both these guys can give you an over each in the power play. So it gives you that flexibility. And if you say, look, I don't have 3 seamers, then you play with that. We saw on the pitch report that they're saying there's little gaps between the grass. The spinners will do well. So you play with what you have.
But that's how big a cog in this Indian wheel is Ravindra Jadeja, because the moment you pick him out of that entire puzzle, it seems like the pieces are falling because the balance has to change completely now. He was one batter in the last game versus Pakistan. We saw the moment that left-arm spinner came in, Mohammad Nawaz, they sent him up to number 4, and he kind of neutralized that threat from him. Now you can't do that, so now you've got to rejudge.
The interesting thing is Jadeja's numbers against pace are far better than his numbers against spin.
That is true.
I mean, you send out a left-hander to take on the spinner, but Jadeja's numbers against pace are actually better than his numbers against spin.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's see what happens. Even Rishabh's numbers batting at 5 aren't the greatest in the world. I always look at Rishabh and compare Rishabh to what Rishabh should be, like we do with KL Rahul. And I think his best days as a T20 batsman are still ahead of him.
And I think, to me, I don't think the 2 keepers are competing for the spot, not a spot for a wicket keeper. I think Rishabh Pant is competing with 1, 2, 3, 4 for a batting spot, and Dinesh Karthik is doing a different thing here. He's a specialist death over batsman kind of a role which he's been doing. So it'll depend on how well a 1, 2, 3 is batting, that's when Rishabh Pant will come into play. And so that's my reading. Usually, wicketkeeper goes out and wicketkeeper comes in, but in T20 cricket, they both are competing with the different players for a different spot.
In fact, it's a funny situation where India have more batsmen who can keep wickets than batsmen who can bowl.
That's true. That is true. And they're going to be tested right now because Pakistan have won the toss and elected to field. India have made 3 changes. Deepak Hooda, Hardik Pandya and Ravi Bishnoi come in. So first make sense of those changes, PPPedia, and then tell us who are they replacing, according to you. So guessing.
Obviously, Ravindra Jadeja goes out, but the biggest, Avesh Khan is not playing for sure, because Bishnoi comes in. And third one is either Dinesh Karthik or Rishabh Pant, or maybe if they've thrown a surprise in it, and whether they're playing KL Rahul or not. And that, I don't know, I mean, that could be a surprise, but otherwise,
Karthik and Pant are both playing by the way.
So then KL Rahul's gone out.
Yeah.
Who's
KL
open?
Rahul sits out.
So
He's playing. Oh, KL Rahul is also playing. I just got the news. KL Rahul is playing.
Okay, let's-
Okay, so
let's look at
I'll
the
tell you.
side.
I'll tell you the playing 11. KL Rahul and Rohit Sharma, of course, open. Virat Kohli, Suryakumar Yadav, Rishabh Pant, Deepak Hooda, Hardik Pandya, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Ravi Bishnoi, Yuzi Chahal, and Arshdeep Singh. So Dinesh Karthik sits out this one.
yeah.
That was. I think once Ravindra Jadeja went out, that was perhaps the obvious choice.
Of playing Rishabh as the left-hander.
Yeah.
But also this team has made it very clear. I mean, though Rahul did say that it's not that we are only experimenting, we will always play the team that we believe has the best chance of winning. But I think if you want to take a call between Rishabh and DK for the T20 World Cup, then it's only fair that you give both of them a chance. And knowing Rahul, as all of us do, I think it would have been conveyed very clearly to DK.
Yeah.
Look, we've given him 2 games. We want to see Rishabh batting 2 games. And yeah, we do need a left-hander at the top order.
Yeah, correct.
And I don't think DK will mind too much. Obviously, everyone wants to play as many games as possible, but it's a logical change.
Yeah.
But now with no Ravindra Jadeja, PP, the statement we just saw from India's head coach Rahul Dravid, he's saying we'd like to play a solid combination in the build-up to that World Cup. But now that combination will need changing with no Ravindra Jadeja.
Yeah, I think that's what they did, right? They just spoken about they as and when whatever they needed, they'll play a right combination, the combination which suits on that day. So they already have players ready for the spot, and they're playing a combination here. That's what Ravindra Jadeja's batting. They trusted his batting, then they could play Dinesh Karthik at 7. Here they wanted a left-hander in the middle order, so that's why they've got Rishabh Pant. Deepak Hooda is someone who can bat from 1 to 7 anyway. So and he gives you that flexibility of couple of overs of off spin, which they must have thought about. I think the Ravindra Jadeja's batting at number 4, I think that also shows that Indian team is also thinking about the lefty batsman in middle over, and that exactly what has happened in last game also. The way he took Nawaz out of the attack, and that makes a difference. As much as we say about lefty righty combination, it does make a difference. Though sometimes you feel that if you're in form, whether you're righty or a lefty, you can still hit. Yeah. But then there's a lot of combinations comes into play, and I thought that could be one of the biggest reason why Rishabh Pant is playing today.
So effectively, they've picked Bishnoi ahead of Ashwin on the assumption that if you want some off-spin, Hooda will give you 2 overs. But he's really an off-break bowler to the left.
He does the bowling,
Though I did see the last time I saw him play, I saw him bowl more leg breaks than I've seen him
and those
before.
are turning big as well.
Than I've seen before. So he's not only a particular kind of bowler, it could also be that they've not seen too much of Bishnoi.
Yeah.
And the fact that they've got Deepak Hooda playing, which means they've got batting till number 7. So that's the balance they've worked out. Maybe they just thought that Akshar and Chahal will both turn the ball the same way.
And with playing only 2 fast bowlers, and playing 2 leggies, that just gives you that attacking option in the middle. Usually that's what happens. The wickets, if you're taking wickets in the middle over, then you can still get them out, but you can't just.
Who bowls power play?
Then it'll be one of the Bishnoi could bowl
1 over in the
power play. Hardik will bowl 1 over in the power play, then 2 each.
But as Rohit Sharma said at the toss, he said playing 11 selection for me today was a headache, and we can't agree more. I'm pretty sure with Ravindra Jadeja out, the balance needs changing. But the one thing that Indian 11 reflects clearly is that Rohit Sharma likes having options, doesn't like going in with just 5 bowlers. Let's see what Pakistan have done to their playing 11 from the last game against Hong Kong, where they gave them a beating. Of course, Mohammad Hasnain comes in. We saw Dahani was injured. He had a side strain, I believe, which is why Mohammad Hasnain comes in. But apart from that, the rest of the team remains the same. The top order is solid with Babar and Rizwan. Then you've got Fakhar Zaman, Iftikhar Ahmed, Khushdil Shah, who was brilliant with the bat against Hong Kong. Then Asif Ali, and then you get into the bowlers. Shadab Khan, Nawaz, Naseem Shah, Haris Rauf, Mohammad Hasnain. A lot of pace.
And what they've done is they've picked Hasnain. Hasnain has come in as a replacement for Shaheen. So they've picked Hasnain ahead of Hassan Ali because Hassan Ali came in as a replacement for Mohammad Wasim. So the guy who's come in as a first replacement gets into the side first, which I think is fair. Hasnain has a lot of experience playing T20 cricket. He's played the Big Bash. He's played around as well. A little bit of talk about his action, but that's for the umpires to call. But he's got pace. He's got genuine pace. So they've got 3 bowlers, all of whom have pretty genuine pace. But India batting first, having to set a target. This is what Pakistan, in this current incarnation, genuinely love. I mean, there was a time when Pakistan chasing and every Pakistan fan would say, "Yaar, ye kya ho gaya?"
Exactly.
But now they like chasing because their win-loss record is so much better. Also, their bowlers are keeping the opposition down to manageable totals. And their top three cannot afford to batting second like they do batting first because they've got a target in front. So this current Pakistan side is geared to bat second.
Yeah, they are.
And exactly that's what happens, right? When you are playing someone like Babar Azam and Mohammad Rizwan, they bat certain way.
Yeah.
So if there is a target in front of them, they know how to accelerate, when to accelerate. And in place of, say, if you're batting first, then you don't actually know what target. I mean, they are always under pressure that we have to play fast, and in that process, they might just, play a false shot. But here, they know how to play, and they also are dependent on how Babar plays or Rizwan plays. They want one of them to bat till 16th, 17th over. Then everyone else can play with the higher strike rate.
Correct. When they bat second, they win 90% of their games in T20 ice in this current reincarnation, as Harsha said. When they bat first, win only 45%. So this seems like a very good toss to win. Also because this pitch has been watered, of course, it's rested for a while. And now Naseem Shah will have the new ball in his hands. And we saw what he did the last time around. That in-swinger was a killer one.
I actually do believe his natural ball leaves the right-hander, but he's got it both ways.
Yeah.
Now he's got a reputation.
Yeah.
Which affects a lot of young bowlers. He's got a reputation. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes if they attack him. I'd like to see how KL Rahul and Rohit Sharma play, because we talked about Pakistan being conservative at the start. India batting first. We've got to see that India are not conservative batting first, because there's firepower down the order.
Yeah, correct.
And it makes a difference with what Harsha Bhai said. When you're playing against each other a lot, then you know what a bowler is doing. And then in India, Pakistan doesn't play that often. So you don't know, how much in swing. Is there a capability? Yes, you see the videos and all of that, but your natural instinct takes over when you go on the ground, then how much pace it is coming from. So that's what Shaheen Shah Afridi did in that World Cup. I was really excited. If he was fit enough, I would have liked to see him how Indian players play, what to expect out of him. So now it will be a test for Naseem Shah here, how Indian players approach him, because they know. Because sometimes off the wicket, when we say he's bowling that hard ball, sometimes as a batsman, you don't know with what pace off the wicket it'll come from. In the air, you might know that it is swinging this way. So it'll be a completely different game for him today.
I think they're a little worried about Shaheen Afridi.
Yeah.
But he said,
I think I sometimes follow the Pakistan media as well.
Yeah.
I think they're a little worried about Afridi being fit in time, and that's why they've rushed him to England to recover.
Yeah.
Because I think they lost 4 weeks by carrying him around and making him play when he was fully fit.
He played
It'll
that Netherlands
be sad
ODI
if he doesn't play the T20 World Cup, because you want the best players playing there. So you hope he gets ready in time. But I think they're a little worried.
But so far,
as India is about Jadeja.
Yeah, absolutely. But so far in this tournament, Naseem Shah has done perhaps everything asked of him. So he's filled in for Shaheen Shah quite all right. I mean, until this point.
Yeah, he has. There is no doubt about it. And when you are young, when as we've been talking about it, so you're looking at youngsters. That's what Pakistan has done, right? They've dropped Shoaib Malik out of the team. They're backing Iftikhar. Iftikhar may not be as young in the age, but he is someone who can hit the ball. He's been batting really well. And Naseem Shah, again, when you have pace, when you are young, you don't worry about result. You just go out there and try and get the world to notice him. And that's exactly what has happened. Here he's playing his 3rd or 4th international game, and we are not talking about anyone. We are not talking about someone like Mohammad Hasnain, who played international cricket in 2019. We are talking about Naseem here, that what kind of pace he's been doing. He's had cramps, and though with cramps he finished that over, he's shown a lot of attitude, he's shown pace, and he is exciting. I mean, fast bowling excites everyone, right? When we talk about West Indies cricket, or we talk about any fast bowler, from India's cricket point of view, we get excited when we see Bumrah, Shami, everyone coming in bowling that quick, and Naseem Shah is doing exactly the same.
I'd like to see them put pressure on one of the bowlers.
Yeah.
And force Pakistan to look at a 6th bowler at some point. Because the 6th bowler is as a sort of part-time off-spinner, much like Hooda.
Yeah,
I don't know how Iftikhar compares with, say, a Hooda as a spinner. But he's purely a part-timer. But I would like to see India put pressure and force the 6th bowler into the game.
Yeah. They also have an option in Khushdil Shah, but they wouldn't want him to come to that of Khushdil Shah bowling. But who will put pressure on their bowlers? It has to start from Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul. Highlight that name in bold. Now, there's a lot of spotlight on KL Rahul. A first ball duck in the game against Pakistan, then a very scratchy 30 or not even a runner ball against Hong Kong. And you said a very interesting thing, Harsha, that day in that Hong Kong game, that there seems to be guardrails around him. I mean, of course, he's coming back from an injury, but this has been a pattern with KL Rahul. And now there are concerns around him that whenever the pressure situation is high, whenever he's in that kind of a pressure, even in the IPL, that strike rate suddenly starts plummeting.
I think they would have had a word with him. I think they would have had a word with him saying you're at your best playing like this. But what I wanted to check, when in your career, how often did you have to come back from 6-8 week layoffs? You had injury, then you had COVID. I mean, in those days we didn't have COVID luckily, but injury, COVID, coming back. And I'm coming out of COVID, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
So I can imagine the energy levels must be down. But India need KL Rahul to play every single game till they make a decision. But how difficult is it?
It is very difficult. No matter how many balls you've played in nets, sometimes even we had off season like before IPL.
Yeah.
We've had 3-4 months or 2.5 months off. We used to have camps, but before going into game, we would still wanted to have a game time. We used to play a lot of practice games before a proper tournament starts, because whatever you do in your nets, it doesn't matter. You want to play out there on the open ground. Even the open nets also doesn't solve that purpose of getting out, the fear of getting out. That will always stay on your mind. Even if you're playing club cricket, you can't play the way you're playing in the nets. Yeah. So that makes a difference. And for KL, yes, totally with Harsha Bhai, that he needs games, and we know how good a player he is. Yeah. We've seen how well he can play when there is no clutters in his mind. And usually when the line which I have developed in this Cricbuzz is that outside noise that doesn't matter, the inside noise that matters.
Say to that baritone. The outside noise doesn't matter.
Andar ki awaaz, that matters. And KL Rahul has quality. We've seen how well can he play. It's just that he has to go out there, and same mindset which we've been talking about with Virat Kohli. There is quality. It's about how well they are thinking.
But with KL Rahul, as we saw in those numbers as well, that cluttered mindset, it's of course right now he's coming off a huge layoff and he hasn't played, but these are T20Is since lockdown. 13 innings, 9 dismissals, and that average and strike rate just of course doesn't do justice to the kind of batter that he is.
Also, if he continues like this, he's putting pressure on Rohit Sharma at the other end.
Absolutely.
You don't want Rohit Sharma to play a 20 in 13 balls kind of innings. Yeah. You want Rohit Sharma to play a 50 in 30 balls kind of innings. But he also shouldn't be taking too many chances, because Rohit is such a good timer. He should just feel his way around the new ball. He'll hit the gaps. But if at the other end nothing is happening, then he'll want to play the big shots. So I think at this stage they will have told KL Rahul, look, you can get 5-6 balls. Against Hong Kong, he got 39. He should have been allowed 15 or 20.
Yeah, correct.
You can't play 39 balls. You can play 18, 20. But so I think the message would have gone very clearly today. Look, we're backing you all the way. They probably have told him, we're going to give you every single game till we are alive in the Asia Cup. And with that backing, go and play your shots, because we're going to pick you. Don't get worried about being left out. We'll pick you, but go and play your shots.
PPPedia, you've
PPPedia ho gaya now?
PPPedia, yes.
No, I know it's PPPedia, but now officially
Yes, PPPedia. Every time I have an intellectual question, I go and address them as PPPedia. Yeah, PPPedia. So PPPedia, I have a question for you. It's like Siri and OK Google on your phone sees PPPedia to us. So PPPedia, the question actually is that we've talked about his mindset and it's cluttered, and as you said, you can't be allowed that many balls in a T20 game. I mean, if it weren't Hong Kong, some other team, that would have really worked to the detriment of the team. Now, it's a left field thought, okay. But why not grant your wish, make Virat Kohli open the innings and bat KL Rahul in the middle order? Now, hear me out. He hasn't batted a lot in the middle order, but every time he has, because he doesn't have those restrictions, he has to go bang, bang, look at that. Yeah. 4 innings, of course, but that strike rate, that average, that's good enough, no?
Yeah, but obviously, but this is brilliant. Yeah. But these are only 4 games.
Very small sample size.
And 100, which I thought he got, was against West Indies in Miami, where the ground was only about 45 yards. So, I mean, for me, KL Rahul, either KL Rahul is playing or Virat Kohli, I mean, they have to take that call between. I personally feel that, if they're playing Rohit, KL and Virat, someone has to play with a different approach. Someone has to play a proper attacking approach. So they have to decide whether it is Rohit, whether it is KL Rahul or Virat Kohli. And with KL Rahul, last game he did take time. He did take a lot of time. But that's what that's what Indian team would have been happy him playing those 40 balls, because that's what they were looking to do.
Exactly. One of the things we talked about that day was you need to see the effect of those 39 balls in today's game.
Yeah, correct.
Same with Virat. You need to see he got the half century. He played 40, 45, whatever balls. 44. You need to see the effect of that time in the middle in today's game.
So that's what happened. And Hong Kong game was for that. It was to allow them to get into that match practice. Virat also hasn't batted for 30 days, and KL's been short of match practice. So I mean, they would have liked that. But yes, they need to. We need to see some sort of slight approach change because Rohit Sharma, for everyone's liking, I think he's taking far too many chances.
Yeah,
he has definitely. He's been playing an attacking game. There is no doubt about it. But we don't see Rohit Sharma stepping out in first over and then try and whack. And see, the difference is there.
Yeah, he hasn't reached the death over.
It used to be different.
Absolutely.
The middle over used to be the power play where he used to play around 115, 120 and then take over and then play till the death. And here, because you are taking so many chances, if it's not your day, you are going to get out. The percentage of you getting out will be higher. So, and someone like Rohit Sharma comes under pressure if you have an opener who is actually not playing too many dot balls with him.
A couple of things I noticed with Rohit, he hardly ever goes out of shape.
No.
When he's playing shots. In the last few games, you've seen Rohit slogging and mishitting to deep mid-wicket, which you don't see with Rohit. You don't see him losing shape. Correct. So I get the feeling he's trying to hit the ball too hard. I don't know if that's right or wrong. That's the impression I get.
That's true, and of course that's the approach, and he's been very vocal about the approach that I don't want batters who score 50 or 45 balls. I want you to either score a 70 or 40 or give me a good 13 ball 30.
So he's saying I'll do it.
Yeah.
You're saying I'll do it.
But the problem with that, as we saw in that graphic, is now Rohit isn't batting in that template that he used to bat in. I mean, he used to first lay a platform and then go bang bang towards the end.
I saw some interesting numbers which say he's not a great rotator of strike. He's a great hitter of a ball, but he's not the best rotator of strike. And so that is why the power play is important for him. And once he gets set in the power play, then he's a boundary hitter.
Of course.
And nobody in international cricket hits sixes quite as classily and stylish as Rohit does. He's got his numbers compare with the Russells of this world. So maybe he's not the best rotator of strike. And so people think they can keep him quiet using a left arm spinner maybe in the middle overs. So that will be interesting to see.
Yeah, 300 T20 sixes for him.
So. Yeah, I mean, he's the highest six-hitter batsman. But more than that, I think see, when you're playing in power play, it is very difficult to rotate strike also. When a left-arm spinner is playing, if you're trying to take singles, it is very difficult because there's seven inside. So you have to take your chances. But would like to see whether he's been able to rotate strike in the middle over or not. So if that is not happening, then that's a worrying sign because there's always a single, there's no mid-wicket. And the bigger thing is there are hardly any Indian batsmen except Surya and Dinesh, they don't sweep. So if your spinner is bowling, when you're playing that paddle sweep or anything around, or if you can hit a slog sweep, then the field opens up for your single. Then there is no mid-wicket. And if it's not turning, even if you put a straight bat here, you will get singled at the mid-wicket. So that's something which, obviously India will, obviously Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli have been playing for years. So to develop that sweep or to, get into that mindset is not easy. But for young players, if you're playing on a turning wicket, everyone's go-to option of I can say of my generation or before generation.
Why looking at me? Every generation is older generation.
I like how Media quietly slipped that in.
Two youngsters.
Made it look so organic.
Youngsters, I tell you.
But talking of strike rotation, bhai, main kar leta hu, bahut अच्छा strike rotate. So I'll just put that on the leg side and let one of you ask a question. Yes, मैं क्यों पूछूं सारे सवाल? Hashtag ask Cricbuzz Live. We've got a question from Debashish Barik who says Sky has often used the sweep. Okay, PPPD has preempted this question. He says Sky has often used the sweep shot to get going against spin. Not only is it a boundary shot, but also forces changes in the field placements. Should more Indian batters employ the sweep? You kind of answered that question, baby.
So I kind of answered it, right? Yeah. If you can paddle, even if you've not played sweep, even in a previous game, if you have paddled, the captain and coaches think that, he has a paddle shot. So then straight away they start with short fine leg. When Virat Kohli or Rohit Sharma comes into bat, they do not keep that fielder. They start with mid-wicket because they know that they don't play that shot. Yeah. So maybe in one of the game, it won't be a bad idea to just, get that out of it. And if it's bowling outside the off stump, the chances of getting out is none. But if you can play only once or twice, then teams with their data and everything, they comes up with the field straight, even before they bowled first ball.
Yeah. Traditionally, people are brought up on traditional correct skills of the game, are always told, get to the pitch of the ball. So you don't need to sweep. Traditionally, Indian batsmen are not swept very much because they've used their footwork to get to the pitch of the ball. So the English batsmen actually sweep more than the Indians because I don't think they read it in the air, so they want to sweep. But the time has come when in T20, when India's batsmen do need to sweep a lot more.
Yeah.
It is, and especially on the wicket, kind of wicket they're growing up also, that matters quite a bit as well. With, while Rohit and Virat, they were playing domestic cricket, there was a rule of, playing on a 4 mm grass where spinners wouldn't flight the ball, because there is no need of flighting the ball, because everyone was playing 4 fast bowlers in domestic cricket. There was no turners, and when you're playing on a turning wicket, sweep becomes a very, very important shot. Yeah. If you look at Sachin Tendulkar, Rahul Dravid, or whoever will play spin really well in that generation, they were sweeping. Even Lakshman Bhai, with that very difficult knee, even he would also play that sweep. So I mean, it becomes an important shot, and it also depends on where you've grown up and what kind of first-class cricket you've played on.
Yeah, correct. Now, so this is, of course, take 2 of the India-Pakistan rivalry in this Asia Cup. Take 1 was brilliant, but there were some learnings from it as well. And perhaps the biggest one of them was the fact that that new overrate rule came in, and we saw the 5 fielders inside the circle. Of course, India won that, and towards the end, Pakistan had to bring those fielders in. Hardik was magical. But what are your thoughts on that, Harsha, the overrate rule?
I think India
was coming.
Look, India also got docked 3 overs, right? India also had to play with the 1 fielder less outside in 3 overs, but Pakistan were not able to take advantage of that, whereas India benefited enormously. I think Parthiv was talking about a Jadeja shot, but definitely the Hardik shot that cleared the field, and Babar misfielded for 4. Yeah. There was no way that was going to be 4 if you had the extra man outside. So India benefited enormously. I think in course of time it will be seen to be as much of a crime as bowling a no ball in the depth.
Correct. Yeah. Because it has direct implications on the result, and we saw that in this game.
It obviously happened in India-Pakistan game, but it did also happen in Sri Lanka-Bangladesh game also. Yeah, when there was a off-spinner was bowling last and the boundary came over mid-wicket. That's when they had to take a chance whether to keep mid-off up or mid-wicket up. They chose mid-wicket up, and it went over mid-wicket for 4th. Otherwise, they both would have been on the boundary. Yeah. But I think more that I'm looking at it differently now. Okay. Bowlers who is bowling the last over or second last over will have to come prepared, thinking that there could be 5 fielders inside. So, then who will be my 5th fielder inside to which batsman? Because we do a lot of planning, and every player comes well planned, but they come with only 4 fielders keeping in mind, and they know that whether it will be 3rd man up or a square leg up or a fine leg up to which batsman. But now they'll have to think and be ready with who will be my 5th option if this kind of situation comes.
And in a sense, the field you set, therefore, with just 4 outside, will end up telling the batsman what you're going to bowl. So, but he's absolutely right. You've got to start thinking already. कि अगर एक fielder कम है, where am I going to bowl? Who is that fielder going to be? What are my lines? Am I practicing those already?
Yeah. The one asset India had who would have made this null and void largely is now no more in the team. Ravindra Jadeja would have completed those overs every time you were on the deadline, but now
provided he's bowling 4 overs also.
Who?
Provided he's bowling 4 overs.
Provided he's bowling. Yeah, but that is actually true. That is actually true. If he doesn't bowl 4 overs, then it doesn't make sense. Of course, let's remind you, Pakistan has won the toss, opted to bowl first. India have made 3 changes. The balance had to be redone, recalibrated there. The one name that comes in, and that's a bit of a surprise, is of course Ravi Bishnoi. There's also Deepak Hooda who's come in. Hardik Pandya comes back in. Rishabh Pant continues to be in the team. Dinesh Karthik is out. Now, Deepak Hooda is, of course, slotted in there at number 7. Will he bat there or will he bat up?
He could float, but you want Surya to be batting up as much as possible. Yeah. You've picked Rishabh because he's a left-hander. You don't want Rishabh to come down at 6 or 7. There's no point playing if he's picked as a left-hander. So I don't see any slot for him. Hardik's in tremendous form. So I don't see any other slot for him. But sometimes when you become known as a player who can bat anywhere, you always get the tough batting position.
Yeah.
So, no, he can bat at 7. Okay, let's have him at 7. But the stage Deepak Hooda is in at the moment, he's just saying, give me a game. You want me to open, I'll open. He's opened as well for India. Remember, in Ireland.
Correct, yeah.
So I'll bat anywhere as long as you play me.
Yeah. And to me, I think either 6 or 7. I don't think he's going anywhere higher than that.
All right.
And because now with Hardik Pandya's roles also become important with Dinesh Karthik not playing in the side, because he will need that finisher. And again, that Hardik Pandya kind of situation where if it gets tougher, then Hardik can float around, and it will happen same with Deepak Hooda. But to me, I think Hardik will bat at 7 if India is losing wicket with Deepak Hooda. Maybe both are now, Hardik has shown how well he can bat and how well he can adjust to any situation. But that role of finisher might just go to Hardik Pandya, and they might just prepare him to do that.
In fact, there's one thing we've been saying. Who is the one person who can play the DK role? Is Hardik.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if Hardik plays the DK role, it opens up plays for Rishabh or for somebody else. So that is also something you want to look at over here? Is there someone else playing the DK role?
Also, now that you bat so deep with Deepak Hooda, your approach at the top can also change. I mean, of course, you can take that element of extra risk, maybe.
But that was what Jadeja was offering in any case.
Yeah.
When you had Jadeja batting at 7, that he's being picked in the side to bat at 7 to give freedom to the top 3.
This T20 is all about freedom. You cannot, when you go into that game with the slightest of doubt in your mind, then execution suffers. And I think that's how you should be playing. I mean, it doesn't matter what has happened in last game. It just what matters is, how you are going in. Yes. If you feel like you can hit boundary of first ball, back yourself to do that.
Go for it. Indian fans would hope that happens today. Now, Pakistan has a great chasing record. What is the winning total on this track? We've seen enough of the Dubai track. Of course, it's rested for a while. What's a good winning total?
Against a good chasing side, you want 180, I think.
180?
Yeah.
I mean, I know the other day was a 148 game. Pakistan's a good side.
Of course.
Even though Rahul couldn't quite find the word that he exactly wanted to use. It's so Rahul Dravid to not use a particular word because he thinks should I not.
And didn't say any other word either.
And saying it starts with S is a 4-letter word, ending with Y with a former in between. But I will not say it. But in all fairness, they did bowl really well. But Rahul's point is valid. India bowled well to keep Pakistan down to 147, 148 as well. But against a good chasing side, you want those extra runs. But we'll know in the first few overs how this track is playing.
So what's your prediction then? I was just setting it up. मैं theory ले लेता सारी, फिर मैं अब अपना भी score बताऊंगा. तो आपने भी theory ले कर दिया. Now I'll tell.
178, 178 तो लगेंगे.
178 or 177?
जो भी क्या फर्क.
178.
165.
165? PP, why?
I'm going 165.
You're going 165?
Yeah.
आपका भाई है आपके साथ 190.
So we have to give them proper perspective. With emotions, I would say 250.
But here only emotions. Now what perspective will I give?
तो आपका 190 आपको लग रहा है या आप चाह रहे हैं? You want 190?
दिल से लग भी रहा है, दिल से चाह भी रहा है.
If you want 190, then you are going too low.
Sir, because you said 180 is a winning total against Pakistan. He said 165. So I got a little
when you were
scared.
writing your law exam, did your answers were answers determined by what the guy the side was
there
writing?
I knew. Here, so everything is, sir, India-Pakistan day, everything comes from here only.
It's just a game. Don't worry.
I know, but still. दिल तो है ही, but आपका दिल एक और तरफ जाता है towards the joy factor question.
He's got a green in his
has been
coat
tracking.
also.
Sorry?
He's got a green in his
हम दोनों ने सुना.
Okay, fine. Let's move on. कुछ नहीं हुआ. Joy factor question for the day. Let's have a look at what Joyda has sent us today. Which cricketer who has taken exactly 100 test wickets scored his only test century the last time two specific full member countries played a test against each other? Good luck to all of you.
Good luck, yeah.
Answering that. I have... There are just... PPPD, anything? No?
No, it doesn't
See,
come.
there's no test match playing country that has gone out. ऐसे नहीं कि पहले खेलते थे अब नहीं खेल रहे.
Yeah.
There's no country that has gone out from test match. So it has to be two countries that probably haven't played together for a long time.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a clue there.
There's a clue there for all of you.
There's always a clue.
Yeah, correct. Hashtag Cricbuzz Live is where you answer. It's time for us to go because the game is underway. Thank you, PPPD. Thank you, Harsha, for joining us. Thank you to all of you as well for joining in. We'll see you at the end of the 10th over with Cricbuzz Combox and then towards the end of India's innings after they've scored 191 on Cricbuzz Live. See you then.